This video is brought to you by Sporlan, quality, integrity, and tradition. Today we have a call on an exhaust hood that just went down, and they said when it went down it took out all the lights for the back of the kitchen too. It is eerily quiet up here. This is my one where I guess that this is the main hood, this is the secondary hood, and that's the make-a-bear unit. So I don't know where our problem is. First and foremost, what I'm going to do is shut every one of these off. Make-a-bear unit off, we'll shut off this hood and that hood. I have a feeling that we blew a main breaker of some sort, because they're saying that they lost power to like the lighting in the building and stuff. So I'll open these guys up and then we'll start by checking these. Yeah. Looks like grease has made its way into there. So let's start by checking power. All right, this is their main hood. The main hood, power coming in is dead. There's no power there. Also, look right up there. I pulled that wire away. That doesn't look good. I can't tell if it actually broke the jacket or not. We'll have to see. But it definitely didn't look good up there. You can see that white mark. Come down here to the mag starter, and it's in a tripped position. So that's a thing. Huh. I'll have to trace out what wires are what. But there is no power coming into the disconnect switch, so we need to go downstairs and find where the main is, because that it looks to be tripped. This is their second exhaust fan, and this is an interesting one. So look at that mag starter's covered in rust, almost like water's been dripping on it. Looks like there's something, there's no water in the bottom, but you can see calcium where it looks like it has gotten wet before. But if you come up here, this guy actually has power. This one has 215, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 1 to 3. So this has three-phase power. Let's test to see if the fuses are blown on it. No blown. Good. So the fuses are good. Sorry about that, the sun was in it for a sec. The fuses are good, but if we come down here, this motor starter's tripped too. So that's interesting. I wonder what the dysfunction with that is. Huh, all right, I'm gonna go look at the other make-a-bear unit that's not running. Spare you guys the trouble, but this one has no power too. So let's come on down here. Power's off. So we should safely, maybe it's not tripped. I can't remember if the yellow means tripped. I thought it did mean tripped. Regardless, we don't have coil voltage. It's interesting. So come back here to their breaker panels, and we have a tripped breaker right here. Okay. But what concerns me is it's labeled ANSL. That's the fire suppression system. We've got everything turned off. That's weird because that turned on the lights and turned on contactors and stuff. So that's really bizarre. But what caused that to trip is the question. Don't quite know what they're doing here. But let's see, that restored power to the fan. 213, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 213. Okay, now we're not going to turn this on yet. This one still had power, but this one didn't, so let's check this one. Check to see if we restored power on this one too. Yep, power. 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 1 to 3. So that restored power. Now the question is, where's my problem? This motor doesn't look good. It's like there's a lot of bearing dust and stuff on the top of it. We're gonna test that. It's interesting. So we're gonna test for shorts to ground and stuff, see what we can find. So everything spins. There's no play in the shaft. It doesn't feel like there's anything bound up in it. This one over here spins, but remember this one had power the whole time, so I don't think this is the problem. Nothing's bound up in there. I shook them. I haven't seen this one, so let's test this one real quick. This one right here moves fine too. Nice and good. So nothing's bound up in that one. We need to test for shorts to ground on this one. I think our problem is with this motor on the main exhaust fan, because when I grab it, there's some play in that bearing. And that might explain all this bearing dust that I see all over this thing too. So I predict, yeah, the bearings are toast in that guy, and I predict that's what caused the breaker to trip. But why it didn't trip the motor starter, because it doesn't seem like the motor starter is actually tripped. Let's see if I can energize this guy and see what happens. Launch ourselves, see what happens. Nothing. Interesting. The heck? Oh, that's interesting. Let's go ahead and turn it back on and see. Okay, nothing there. So let's check some voltages real quick. So the hood switch was actually off. So now this guy's pulled in and it's just waiting to be, you couldn't hear it, but it pulled in when I turned on that switch. So now we need to see if we can carefully get this guy up. Yeah, did you guys hear that noise? Motor's got bad bearings. More than likely, that was the cause. So, with that being said, let's come over here to these guys, turn these guys on, and see if these guys run okay. Go ahead and close this. That one now runs fine. Belt's a little loose, but we can deal with that. This one, belt's a little loose, but it runs fine too. So I'm thinking that this one overloaded, especially once the belt's on it, because those bearings are bad. So I'm gonna do some research right now, try to find a motor, and then we'll go from there. So when sourcing a new motor, what you need to pay attention to is the motor information. So this is a Marathon motor. I don't really care about the name. We're gonna get a universal replacement. So horsepower is something you take into consideration. RPMs, voltage, the frame is very important, okay? We can make other frame motors work, but it changes things. Obviously, it changes the mounting bracket and it changes the shaft size. So this is a 145T frame. So typically that's a 7/8 inch shaft, the bigger guy. So this should not be a hard motor to find. It looks like a 2 horsepower, 1745 RPMs, which really 208 3-phase, 145T frame. We should be good to go. All right, got a new motor, 2 horsepower. All the specs match up. Significantly smaller, which is interesting. New pulley belt. It's got some grease because we'll lube up the bearings. Yeah, so we're gonna get going on this. Really shouldn't be hard. I am gonna come back and replace the motor starter. But I'm not gonna do it right now because they didn't have it, so I went ahead and ordered it. We'll use that one for now, and then probably replace the conduit too. All right, went ahead and disconnected the conduit, but check this out. This conduit's all cracked and brittle. It's all old, just beat down. But even though I'm in control of the disconnect switch, it's right there, I have it shut off, I still put wire nuts on these guys whenever I'm working on stuff. Even if I have a breaker locked out, I still put wire nuts on it just for giggles. It's just for safety, really. Always, like what I always tell my techs, you always treat it like someone's gonna turn it on. You know, even if you have it locked out, always treat it like someone's gonna turn it on. So we're gonna get this guy swapped out, just straight up bolt pattern, no big deal. And then we'll put a new pulley on there and call it a day. The new motor didn't come with a new key. So all you do is get the set screw off and then take a pair of dikes. Oh, and you gotta watch out for that. I'll have to sand it up, but usually if you just use leverage, yeah, you can get it out. All you do is just take some sandpaper and run it on sandpaper with your finger. It'll clean right up, and then we'll be able to reuse that key for the new motor. Okay, got the new motor installed, got it tightened down where it needs to be. Now, I wanted to point something out. You have your adjustment key right here if you ever need to make an adjustment, but whenever you do make adjustments and you open or close, you may have to move the entire pulley. It's depending on how you have it lined up. Now this one I have lined up really well. The other thing is down here, there's the set screw right here, right? It's one of these. That's going to the key, okay? This particular motor pulley or sheave has got a second set screw. I take that out because all that's gonna do is scar the shaft. It's not needed in my opinion. So we only put the one that's on the actual key. The other one I just take out and get rid of it because it's just going to create headaches later when you try to change this pulley again. So now I brought up I only have a little bit of conduit. I don't know if it's enough or not. If it is, I'll replace it. If not, we'll reuse the existing stuff and I'll replace it when I come back to change the motor starter. All right, I turned it on. We are back up and running. Everything is good. We're allowed to run 5.9 amps. We're running right at 4.76, 4.75. That's using the Fieldpiece SC 480 meter. I matched the pulley to the other pulley, so we should be good as far as airflow, the amount of movement, and it is going in the right direction. So I'm gonna grease up the bearings real quick, if they even have grease ports, and then like I said, we're still gonna come back and change that motor starter. Let's see. Yeah, we got grease zerks right there, so I'm gonna grease those up real quick. All right, we are back up and running. I put the lids on everything. Now, I wanted to talk about this. So, what I think happened was the motor starter failed, okay? We had bad bearings in the motor. It had an overcurrent situation. They probably locked up. The motor starter should have tripped, but it didn't. The breaker tripped instead. I believe, and this happens a lot on these older systems, I believe that the breaker for this also feeds the makeup air. Seems a little unconventional, but it's pretty common on these older stores. Then on top of that, I believe that this power is the 115 volt leg coming from this setup right here, goes to the hood lights and all the hood equipment, and also, well, no, it should just go to the hood switch, which turns on all these motor starters, and then more than likely turns on a contactor that turns on all their cooking appliances, because all their cooking appliances had been shut off too. It's for fire safety reasons, okay? Now, what is a little bit concerning to me is that when I reset this breaker, the lights in the back of the kitchen turned on. That to me indicates that someone has tied into the circuit with lights that are not under the hood. These are just in the back of the building and in their office. So someone tied in with a lighting circuit into this. So I'm gonna encourage them to get an electrician to look into this. In the meantime, I will be coming back with a motor starter because that motor starter should have tripped and it didn't. I thought it was tripped because of the yellow indicator, but I guess I was incorrect on that. It wasn't tripped. So they are back up and running. I gave them the all clear to start cooking. I went ahead and greased the bearings, and then also replaced the conduit. I made sure it was long enough. I hinged the fan. All new wiring in the conduit. We're good to go on that. I have a big mess up here I need to clean up of wire. I put new belts, and I have a new spare too in here. So I'll drop that new spare inside the exhaust fan. And yeah, that's it, and then we'll come back and change that motor starter. All right, we're back on this exhaust fan today. We're gonna build a motor starter right now. We're gonna replace this one. This one should have tripped, and it tripped the breaker instead for some reason. So we're gonna put a motor starter in there. So it tripped a 15 amp breaker versus tripping a motor starter, which I don't know what those overloads are rated for, heaters. But our new one, we'll put it in there. It'll fit right in there. The only downside to the new one is the push button isn't gonna work, but that's fine. It doesn't make a difference. Someone will just have to open the panel to reset it. I've already verified there's no power in here. We're going to get this guy swapped out. It shouldn't take long. These things are intimidating. These used to scare the heck out of me because they're so big. They used to buzz and scare me and all that. Really, there's not a whole lot going on with them. Not too difficult. Just kind of looking everything over. So you've got your coil voltage right here, hot and your neutral, 115 volts. And then as far, I was looking to make sure I didn't get confused, but it goes black, red, blue on the bottom. And then line 1 matches up to line 1. Line 2 goes to line 2. So that shouldn't be too hard at all. All right, we are installed, wired back in. I got to put another screw in here, which I'm going to do in just a second. We have power at the top of this guy right here. Interesting. Every once in a while I'm hearing a bearing noise. I think those bearings might be dry. So grease those bearings on that one. I didn't grease those bearings the other day. I didn't grease them because I actually have techs here doing the preventative maintenance today, so I was planning on them doing all that. this guy right here is the motor starter, okay? It's a 120 volt contactor with an overload assembly attached to it. So we do not have 3-phase power coming in yet, but we do have coil voltage. The motor starter is pulled in. I just turned it off, turned it on, okay? So the way that this works is it has a circuit right here, 95 and 96. It's a normally closed contact. But if the overcurrent happens, if it goes into an overcurrent situation, it opens that circuit and breaks the neutral to the 120 volt contactor. So the 120 volt hot leg comes in on A1 and is powered all the time, and the neutral gets broken right here, okay? So right now, by hitting stop, I just broke that normally closed circuit. So that's all that it does. You set the overcurrent based on what the manufacturer wants you to set. Typically, if I can't get a hold of the manufacturer, I set it for 10% over the motor's recommended current, basically. Yeah, this guy's ready to go. We're ready to turn it back on. Our overcurrent's already set and all is well. So we're gonna put this guy back in here, close this panel like that. There we go. We're back up and running. We have a motor starter installed here. We're good to go.